It started with something as innocent as a Facebook message. "Hey, remember me, smiley face." That's how it began. From Mark Dalton, a name I hadn't seen or heard in almost 2 decades. Back in high school, Mark had been the kind of boy every girl crushed on at least once, charismatic, a little reckless, but always kind. We were lab partners once in senior year. He kissed me behind the gym during finals week. That was as far as it went until now. My name is Emily. I've been married to Ryan for 7 years. We have 2 kids, a mortgage, a golden retriever, and a shared calendar that keeps our lives somewhat on track. Ryan is a good man. Steady. Reliable. Predictable, to a fault. And lately, absent. Not in the physical sense, he's home every night by 6, helps with the dishes, puts the kids to bed. But emotionally? It's like he's gone somewhere I can't reach. We haven't laughed together in months. Our conversations revolve around the kids' school schedules, groceries, and utility bills. When I try to hold him at night, he stiffens, then gently pulls away. I told myself it was just a phase. Everyone goes through dry spells, right? But when Mark's message popped up, it was like someone flipped a switch in me. I remembered what it felt like to be seen. Desired. At first, it was casual. A few exchanged memories, some nostalgia. Then jokes, flirtatious comments, and photos. Then, one day, he asked, "Ever go to Lincoln Park anymore?" I hadn't. Not since our youngest was born. But I said yes anyway. We met on a crisp Thursday afternoon, under the sycamore tree near the fountain. He looked older, of course, but still had that same mischievous smile. We walked. We talked. For an hour, I felt like myself again, not Mom, not Ryan's wife, but Emily. Just Emily. The second time, he brought coffee. We sat on a bench and watched a little girl try to feed squirrels with crushed crackers. He brushed a leaf from my hair. I didn't stop him when his hand lingered near my cheek. By the 4th walk, it was raining. Light, warm droplets pattering on our jackets. We ducked under the same sycamore tree. He looked at me, close, his breath warm against my face. "This is probably a bad idea," I whispered. "That's what makes it exciting," he said, and then he kissed me. It was slow. Gentle. A kiss that asked a question and already knew the answer. I didn't pull away. I leaned in. I wanted it. The guilt didn't hit right away. It crept in slowly, like fog over a field, muting everything until I couldn't see straight. The next morning, I packed the kids' lunches like always, made Ryan coffee, kissed him on the cheek. He didn't notice I'd been crying in the shower. I told myself I'd end it. That it had just been one kiss. But it wasn't. It wasn't just about Mark, it was about me, the version of myself I'd buried under routine and responsibility. The next time, we didn't walk. We went to his apartment. The entire drive there, my heart pounded so loud I thought it might give me away. I was shaking when I walked through his door. And when it was over, when I lay there tangled in unfamiliar sheets, I felt weightless. Not from happiness, but from the sheer gravity of what I'd done. When I got home, Ryan was already asleep on the couch, a half-watched documentary still playing. I stood there for a long time, watching his chest rise and fall. He had no idea. But things don't stay hidden forever. And secrets, no matter how carefully tucked away, have a way of unraveling. They say guilt is a quiet killer, but for me, it screamed. Every time I looked at Ryan, I saw Mark. I saw the kiss in the park, the way Mark whispered my name like it meant something. And I hated myself for it. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but because I did. And that terrified me. For weeks, I played the part of the perfect wife. I packed the kids' lunches with sweet notes tucked inside. I made Ryan's favorite dinners. I even suggested a weekend trip, just the 2 of us, like we used to. But nothing worked. Ryan was distant. Not cold exactly, just unreadable, like his emotions were buried behind a thick sheet of glass. I told myself he was tired. Stressed from work. But deep down, a darker thought took root: what if he knew? Then, one Saturday, everything came crashing down. We had just returned from the grocery store. I was putting away the produce when Ryan said calmly, "We need to talk." My heart stopped. Not skipped. Stopped. "Okay," I said, playing dumb, already crumbling inside. "I know about the park. About the walks. About him." His voice was low, not angry. That was what scared me most. There was no yelling. No accusations. Just quiet devastation. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. He really looked at me, for the first time in months. "Was it just once?" he asked. I couldn't lie. "No," I whispered. He nodded slowly, like he already knew the answer but needed to hear it. "How long?" 2 months. Silence stretched between us like a chasm. Finally, he said, "Why?" I wanted to scream that it wasn't about Mark, not really. It was about me. About how I'd lost myself in this machine of marriage and motherhood, and Mark had simply reminded me I was still a woman who wanted to be wanted. But instead, I said, "I don't know." That's when his hands went to the back of his neck, the way they always did when he was trying not to fall apart. He sat down at the table, head bowed. "I thought we were okay," he said. "So did I replied, and that was the saddest part. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. About how we stopped making time for each other. About the space that grew between us when we weren't paying attention. There were tears. Anger. Regret. But mostly, there was grief. Grief for the life we built together that now lay fractured. "I can't do this right now," Ryan said finally, standing. "I need space." He left that night, just a duffel bag and the keys to his car. The kids stayed with me, oblivious to the rupture. I told them Daddy was visiting Grandma. Mark messaged me the next day. "I heard. I'm here if you need me." I stared at the screen for a long time before deleting the message. There was no future with Mark. There never had been. He was a detour, a reckless side road I took when the highway of my marriage got too dull. But now the main road was gone, and I was stranded in the wreckage. Weeks passed. Then months. Ryan came by to see the kids. He was polite. Kind, even. But distant. I could see he was protecting himself. I started therapy. Not to fix us, but to fix me. Because I'd broken something sacred. Not just our trust, but the sense of self I thought I understood. Infidelity isn't just about sex. It's about neglect of the relationship, yes, but also of yourself. I don't know if Ryan will ever come back. I don't know if he should. But I do know this. The park where it all started? I haven't been back since. And every time I pass it, I don't think of Mark's kiss or the thrill of forbidden touch. I think of Ryan's face the moment he said, "I know." And I remember that some betrayals don't shout. They whisper and echo for a lifetime.